content.
Look at the content.
Show me your content.
SEO. Today's episode was sponsored by Raycon.
Shadow Legends.
Yeah. I mean, those ads have to work, right? If they keep getting content creators to do it. But, like, I don't think I've ever purchased a product because of an ad on a podcast or anything like that.
I said that once to Mike, though, and he was like, that's because you're not the target audience. And I was like, that's a good point.
Wow, those are fucking fighting words. My money is just as good as anybody else's.
It's actually worse, statistically. Welcome to VCR, Vintage Cinema Rewind, bringing old movies to new viewers. I'm Blake.
And I'm going to tell my kids this was Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, Alphaville.
Alphaville.
Not the band, which I had just heard about today.
Well, you've heard of it and not heard of it at the same time, because I was like, I wonder if I know any of their songs. Spoilers, it's one of the biggest songs ever made.
What is it?
It is Forever Young.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and I did check. I don't really know anything about the band, but this was... The band named themselves after this movie.
Yeah.
So...
Also, fun fact, one of Michael Shannon's favorite movies.
Oh, we love Michael Shannon on this podcast.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's such a weirdo. I love it.
Yeah, he's the best. I still love that interview he did for The Flash, where he clearly doesn't understand what a multiverse is. Like,
I'm just a fan of him in the Criterion Closet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
I showed you the meme where he's like, "Well, I'm a happy little boy. I'm going home now."
Oh yeah, that's right. You sent me that after I got home from a vacation I didn't enjoy with some relatives. Yeah. If any of my relatives are listening, you know who you are.
Yeah. Well, we're doing Alphaville because we're doing Actress Month, and we chose to do Karina, an actress from France who I hadn't have heard of before.
Yeah. How did you? Because as usual, you sent me a list. How did you arrive at her?
I pared it down using AI.
Oh, cool.
AI is actually really good at picking movies for you. I basically gave it a really long prompt about what I was looking for and what I wasn't looking for, and it narrowed it down to maybe 10 actors and actresses.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of shit we should be using AI for, right?
Yeah.
Really research tasks like that.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
So,
and I'm really happy that we did this because, spoilers, I had a really fun time with this movie.
Okay, well, spoilers, I did not have as fun a time, but...
I knew we were going to be opposites today.
Yeah, I will say, though, there's parts of this movie I really, really enjoyed.
Yes.
And then there's other parts with, long, poetic monologues where I was just kind of like, I need another beer.
Yeah. I think the Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 references are actually really apt for this movie.
It is funny. And again, this is another movie where I kind of just wandered in knowing nothing. I rented it off YouTube as usual. I think this is a movie you have to rent. I don't
it's not
think
streaming anywhere.
Yeah, so whatever. So I just wandered in, and the movie starts off with, our main guy, Caution, or as I like to call him, and this is a joke apparently a lot of people have made over the years, Dick Tracy in space.
Yeah.
He shows up into this city, and he goes up to his hotel room, and there's a woman there who's attending to his needs. They're running a bath for him and wants to join him in the bath, and he's being really combative and caustic, and then he steps into the bathroom, and a very large man tackles him from just out of frame.
Yeah.
I was just at the edge of my seat, what am I watching? I have to say, the first 20 minutes with all the hotel room stuff where you're meeting some of the main characters, I was really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I couldn't make heads or tails of it, but I was so...
That's kind of something I found really interesting about this movie is... It kind of throws you into this world, but then expects you to unravel it while Lemmy.
It's Lemmy Caution,
Lemmy
right?
Caution, yeah.
Yeah, what a name.
Yeah, well, Lemmy's unraveling it as well. Not a lot of movies do that. Not a lot of movies kind of don't establish anything at all and kind of just drop you off in the world to start.
Well, and I feel like it's almost a spoiler to say this, but this is kind of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
But it's a sci-fi movie in the most pared down, unessential ways.
Yeah, it's kind of it is a low budget sci-fi movie, and I think the focus is on part of the reason why I love sci-fi movies so much is sci-fi movies are usually heavy into theme and are pretty introspective and, about the human condition and
what
the
it means to be
insanity.
human.
Yeah, and the insanity of being a human being.
So much insanity.
And so, I think that if you're more of a like Star Wars guy or like a big action kind of sci-fi guy, then like maybe this movie is not for you. But
you know what this kind of reminded me of? The Lobster by Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yep.
You know,
I can
where
see
it's a sci-fi movie, but there's no of the typical sci-fi accoutrements, right? Like there's no lasers, there's no spaceships, there's not even really advanced technology.
Yeah, it's real close to Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner.
Yeah, there's actually some scenes where I was like, did Ridley Scott see this movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Heavily inspired.
Yeah, well, like there's one scene very early on where like, what's his face? I almost called him Harry Caul, but that's a very different movie. Where Lemmy Caution walks up to this weird-looking machine, and then it starts playing music, and I'm like, is it a jukebox? Like, what is this thing, right? And then there's all kinds of things where like he's getting kind of messages like almost telepathically.
Yep.
But you're a little like, is there a device in his ear?
Yeah, that's something that this movie does really interestingly. Again, like I kept thinking that there was a narrator in the movie, but then sometimes people would interact with it, and that kind of unravels as we go. It's and the narration in the opening too. I say narration, you'll know what that is later.
Sure will.
The voice of it, I found like I kind of loved it.
I was making fun of it at first, but I kind of started to get into it.
Yeah,
it's a very, just for those of you at home, it's a very, like, I don't even know if I can impersonate.
It's like a robotic. Like it basically, the way it was made was by somebody who had their larynx taken out, who was using like those electric
like
things.
the voice box things.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Sometimes I think of jokes at the movie's expense, so I'm watching it. And the first few times I heard the narrator's voice, I'm like, and like, okay, slight spoiler, not really a spoiler. The whole idea is there's this evil supercomputer that's kind of ruling over this society, and that's the voice we're hearing. And again, it's a very deep, very guttural, very booming voice.
Yeah.
So me at home, being the shithead I am, I was like, well, is it me or is the supercomputer smoking like 3 packs of cigarettes a day? And then I looked it up, and it actually was a guy with like throat cancer, and I was like, oh, I feel bad now. Like, I'm not gonna make that joke.
Jesus. And there you did.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I told you a joke I didn't say. But anyways, yeah, it's almost like Dr. Claw-esque, where it's like, no, it's not. I can't do it. It's not even close. Yeah. No, of course not. So, anyways, it's very much. There's also some film noir sprinkled into this.
Yeah.
Especially Caution. God, it's so weird calling him Caution, but that's his name. He strolls out of a taxi the first scene of the movie, and he's, again, it's like, oh, look, it's Dick Tracy. Like, he's got a fedora, he's got a raincoat, a trench coat. Underneath that trench coat is a 3-piece suit. He's constantly smoking cigarettes. At one point, he lights a cigarette by shooting it.
That's amazing.
I was like, wow. Like, how did you know you could do that?
Yeah.
But, stuff like that. He's a bit needlessly combative and argumentative with every single person he meets.
It's great.
Yeah, kind of.
You are selling me so hard on this movie all over again.
Yeah, I know. But like, it is kind of funny. The movie begins with him showing up at this hotel, and like a couple of the like nice people who work there keep reaching for his briefcase, and he's like he's actually literally slapping their hand away
and like just like jerking it out of like their reach kind of thing. I loved it. I was having so much fun.
So it's pretty funny. So I mean, on the one hand, this is kind of a movie that's, it's good to go in knowing nothing about it, but you're really like out to lunch when this movie starts, right?
Yeah.
Because I wandered in, again, knowing nothing.
Same.
What's the joke that I always make where it's like, you're overprepared,
Yeah.
I'm half prepared, and Jason is completely unprepared. So me wandering in half prepared, I didn't even really realize it was a sci-fi until like a couple minutes in, and like there's all this stuff where like there's a woman with him in the hotel room at the beginning who's like being really like touchy with him, and he's kind of just wanting her to go away.
Yeah.
But she's like, like, oh, let me help you with the bath, or like, let me get in the bathtub with you. And he's kind of like, man, get out of here.
Right.
Get out of here, toots. That's not even close. But so at first you're like, okay, I guess she's a prostitute or something.
Right.
But then there's a line that they slip in that's like, she's like, what, a level 3 pleasure model?
No, she's a level 3 seductress.
Oh, even worse.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's really, it is kind of like a mind melty stew of genres.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like there's parts that are really funny in this movie.
There is a great moment later on where, and this is a slight spoiler, but like Lemmy is on his way to like the final confrontation, and he gets like a ride from somebody.
Yeah.
Then as he's leaving the car, he shoots him in the back of the head. And he's like, now I know you'll keep your word. And I was like, Jesus, Lemmy.
Yeah, Lemmy's a really great character.
One of the things, and I might cut this out, but I've been studying craft again lately, specifically in regards to like tension and suspense and conflict. And one of the things I've noticed is just having an aggressive, disagreeable main character is great for conflict.
Absolutely.
So great. It is actually kind of like, I guess you can't really have a passive, agreeable main character, can you? Because then it's just, then it's the dude from The Big Lebowski, and that's a different film noir.
Absolutely.
So anyways, just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. You want to do the plot really quick?
Oh, do I?
Without trying to spoil anything?
I'm going to need to think about this for a second, because there's quite a bit
I think the kind of way that you establish it is just like Lemmy shows up here basically, and he's been sent on kind of a 3-part mission.
So Lemmy is a journalist, and he's here for 3 reasons. He's here to find a missing partner, another guy named Henry Dixon. He's also trying to like maybe assassinate Professor Von Braun, who's considered like the creator of Alphaville. Mm-hmm. And then the main antagonist of the movie, the Lord Sauron, if you will, the voice in the sky, is an evil supercomputer named Alphaville 60.
Alpha 60.
Alpha 60, right?
Yeah.
He's also trying to take care of that. So, this.
Well, also trying to like navigate through the world of Alphaville,
which he really, and I guess that's kind of one of the selling points of the movie is that like Lemmy, again, the investigative journalist, he's a stranger in a strange land, and he doesn't really understand the customs or the rules of this place,
and he just like patently rejects them as well. Like, and that's part of the fun of the movie is this movie is absurd and ridiculous, and the rules of this world are ridiculous, and he just has like absolutely no part.
He's kind of just like, I'm not doing that. Shit. So
really, really great character. Honestly, like I enjoyed Lemmy Caution a lot in this film.
He had some great moments, some great lines too.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing. It's Lemmy Caution, the journalist, here to get a scoop.
Yeah.
By the way, I did love how he's just constantly taking photos of everything he sees.
Yeah.
With no permission, by the way. It's kind of funny. I worked as a journalist, boots on the ground, for a number of years.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, was I just a journalist in the wrong place? Because like he's constantly being attacked. Beautiful women are trying to sleep with him. He's constantly in danger. I'm like, I don't remember this at all from my time as a journalist.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, characters and people you may know. So Lemmy Caution, played by Eddie Constantine here. Actually an American actor.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I was surprised by it too. He actually was a singer first and tried to get into acting to kind of pay the bills and failed in Hollywood at that. So then he moved to Europe and specifically France, and kind of his singing career started to take off a little bit more, but then he started taking on all of these other roles just to kind of pay the bills again, and he kind of became known for this character, actually.
It's kind of funny when people like, they kind of lean into their second choice, so to speak, that they're not as passionate about, and it turns out they're really good at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny where it's like, maybe you've been pursuing the wrong thing.
Well, and the way that this movie starts, I'm like, oh, like this guy is really good at being abrasive, but I don't know if he's like the right person for this role. And by the end, I was like, that he was perfect.
Got him. Just got him, right?
He's just so abrasive and standoffish. Like, he's the kind of person that you could not be friends with.
No, you know, it's the kind of person that like maybe you could hire him to do a job, but afterwards you'd be like, I'm never working with that guy again. Holy shit. Yeah.
Because he's great at his job, but he also is a prick.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's one of those careers you kind of have to be a prick in.
Yeah. And let me caution, we'll talk about this more in the deep dive, but he is actually based on a character from a series of novels, and then also goes on to have a pretty long film career. Both Lemmy Caution and Eddie Constantine playing him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting era of international cinema where Lemmy Caution becomes kind of a bit of like a folk hero in France.
Is it almost like Django, where they just kind of like...
Yeah.
He just kind of sits... I guess it's not entirely like Django, because Django was like the same guy, wasn't it?
No.
Django was like almost like a brand where they would just call characters in movies Django.
Yeah.
The actual guy, Django, was only in like 2 of them, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we'll talk about it more in the deep dive, because I actually find the history of that kind of interesting. But yeah, Anna Karina is the second main character of the movie, playing Natasha von Braun, who's Professor von Braun's daughter. And I actually thought Anna Karina was really good in this as well.
Yeah, actually, I thought all the acting was pretty good in this.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. I might have a few notes later, but she's a Danish-French actress. She was an icon of the 50s and 60s era French New Wave filmmaking, which is a pretty famous era of filmmaking. I'd heard of it, but I hadn't actually... I don't think I'd explored it at all. Had you done any...
Ooh, yeah, you're really kicking the dust off like 15 years of film school.
I was wondering.
I think it's more just kind of like when like younger, more independent directors started like kind of bursting onto the scenes. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm getting that wrong, and my old film professors are like rolling their eyes at me right now. But I think that's what it was. Like, it was more like grounded and gritty and realistic.
Yeah, I kind of had read a little bit about it before we'd started, and it kind of seemed like you're right about the independent filmmakers. I think they kind of like expanded the way that they filmed, like the cinematography and kind of just how a film is structured. Mm-hmm. They kind of played with a lot of different aspects of film, the way that they edited everything. I'm not actually saying too much here, so
that's okay. I was I'm also being maddeningly unhelpful.
I think that it's also about like they're usually pretty political movies too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I enjoyed this one quite a bit, and I'll probably actually watch a few more French New Wave movies now, because I found this one pretty alluring.
There's one actually. Oh, alluring is a good word for it. There's one in particular we watched in film school called Jules at Gym that I really, really liked. Mm-hmm. It's kind of about like a polyamorous relationship. Scandalous, I know, but anyways, I remember really, really liking that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this kind of goes hand in hand with Anna Karina, French New Wave, but she was married to the director at the time, Jean-Luc Godard, who was a French New Wave filmmaker. Mm-hmm. Very, very famous. Like, I had heard of him before.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of movies together before they eventually divorced. Like, they had done Perrault Les Vous, Vivre sa vie, and A Woman is a Woman.
A Woman is a Woman.
Yeah, she won an award for that. So,
okay.
Yeah,
tight.
Yeah. So they had a really long career together. And like I said, a lot of those movies are really famous. And I don't know if you've picked our next movie yet, but
I haven't.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking this up right now. Apparently, Godard. He lived into 2022.
Yep. Yeah.
So, he was around for quite a while.
Yeah, longer than you might think.
Yeah.
I kind of think that we should almost do like another Godard. Is it Goddard or Goddard?
I don't know. Why are you asking me? I don't know.
Jean-Luc Godard.
Yeah.
And Anna Karina movie. I feel like we should do another collaboration because I really like this one a lot. And
maybe we'll do the one that she won the award for.
Yeah, that one was like seemed a little less famous as a movie.
Fun.
But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. We'll have a look. We'll talk after. But yeah, no, I really like both their performances. Like the movie is kind of centered around their performances, honestly, and all the other characters are relatively minor.
I will say, and I don't mean to, beat the same drum I always beat, but this movie has a very kind of scrambled, kind of chaotic tone where,
Yes.
like, you kind of wander into scenes and you're like, oh God, where are we? Like, what's going on now? Right? Like, it's almost Lynchian in some respects.
Yeah, there's kind of I think you described one of our more recent movies like this. You described Cat City as punk rock, and this movie is a little punk rock.
This movie is a little punk rock. Yeah. Part of that is also just kind of the genre, film noir. Like, it reminded me of, like, The Third Man, where it's just this hapless drunk trying desperately to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And usually failing.
Right.
Getting beaten up in elevators. But, yeah.
Yeah. So who's this movie for? Does it hold up to a modern watch? I feel like we've done a little bit of discussion about who might be interested in this one. It's a noir film that's got so many different genres kind of interwoven into it. Like, I thought this movie was very funny. I thought the ideas were very interesting and surprisingly held up really, really well, the ideas. And, like, at its core, this movie is about a techno dictatorship state.
Yeah, so, like, it's not relevant at all. But, yeah. I will say, not to step on your toes, but, like, I think for someone like you who's really interested in sci-fi and, like, people, especially Blade Runner fans, like, if you want to go back and be like, so this was the Demon Souls to their Dark Souls.
Right.
This is kind of where it started.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to recommend this one to Jason because Jason's going to like this one just as much as I did.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, I wouldn't say this has widespread appeal. Like, I'm not going to recommend this one to, like, my parents or my sister.
Yeah. And, like, even to me, as, someone who's not really a sci-fi or even a film noir fan.
Yeah.
I was kind of just like,
right.
Oh, look at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
this one's kind of got a little bit of a niche audience. And I was that niche. I really like this movie a lot.
Right. So, like, yeah, like, again, I never want to come onto this podcast and be like, I think this movie sucked.
Right.
But I will own up to it when I'm like, I just don't think this was for me.
Yep.
But it was, especially as someone who's seen Blade Runner a couple times and even Blade Runner 2049, it was kind of interesting just being like, oh, wow, this is kind of where it all started.
Yeah.
This was the primordial soup that it rose from.
Well, and I think another movie that I would kind of compare this to is a very famous cult movie of the 90s, and that's Dark City.
Yeah, which I still need to see.
You've never seen Dark City?
Liam Neeson, right?
No. You're thinking Dark Man.
Oh, you're right. Dark Man, Dark City, what's the difference?
No, Dark City is like, this is the sci-fi heads. Like, if you're into Dark City, you're going to be into this movie. But Dark City is like this movie that came out in the 90s right before The Matrix, and it was kind of a similar vibe.
Okay.
Yeah, very much along that line. Like, I would say this movie has a lot more that it shares with Dark City than The Matrix as well. That's why I was kind of more into that. But yeah, they're kind of, Dark City and The Matrix are kind of two sides of a coin in the 90s that are both very famous. One of them more cult famous, but yeah, and this movie, again, it deals with a lot of ideas of control and AI.
Free will.
Yeah.
Emotional repression.
Yeah.
Almost like kind of a cultural erasure.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, all of this stuff I found... I like movies like this, and I like when these movies kind of become time capsules of what people's, like, deepest fears are of the future.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of compare and contrast. Like, something like Network, for example, is another good comparison, right? Where it's like, Network was a parody of what people thought, the 24-hour news cycle might look like in the future, and, like, how people are going to consume news, or how people are going to interpret news, or how people are going to be forced to interpret news and stuff like that in the future.
Yeah.
And that movie came to be, like, shockingly accurate.
This movie is also accurate in some ways too. Yeah.
So I don't know. I found this really, really fascinating for me. Like, it's also like a tight hour 40 movie. So it's not like, I didn't feel the time in this one at all. Like, I thought it was paced actually pretty well.
Yeah, I felt the time, but
Did you?
yeah, I did. But
Oh.
again, I'm not really the guy for this movie.
Yeah, that's fair. I also think that this movie has like some really killer quotes in it as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, as rambling as some of the dialogue can be, there's a couple that I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, there's some really spicy stuff. Like I kept writing down quotes, and that very rarely happens while I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
For
Well,
the-
that's the French. That's the French appetite for poetry,
yeah, very poetic film.
The yearning, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like one of my favorite quotes here is you never understand anything and in the end it kills you.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's a great one too.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that in regards to writing, and I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Solid movie. I really like this one a lot, and you're gonna know if this is a movie for you based on kind of what we're saying here. And again, I actually found this movie held up relatively well just because it becomes kind of a time capsule of a future that in some ways is shockingly a little scary, and how eerie similar it is to ours.
Yeah.
But also how people get certain things wrong too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the jukeboxes are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with some exceptions.
When to watch? This is an ideas movie, so this is a Sunday night movie for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
watched it last night too, and I was like, all right.
Yep.
Last night being Sunday.
True.
I actually was prowling Letterboxd, and maybe it's just kind of the Letterboxd community, but there are still people who are leaving reviews even yesterday and today. So
Oh, really?
yeah, people are talking about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like this one a lot. Like I will probably talk about it a little bit more this year because it's pretty high on my 2025 watch list right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Where to watch? You've got to rent this one, unfortunately.
Boo.
I did rent it on Apple, and I was sitting there, and it was oh, I could rent it or I could buy it, and the prices were a little too different. Now I kind of wish I had bought it because I want to watch it again.
That actually happened to me recently too with a movie. I'm like, I wish I just bought it. I might watch it again.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens. You never know. It's a crapshoot, right? This was
Yeah.
kind of honestly, I'd never heard of this movie before we picked it. So really didn't know what to expect going into it. But again, big fan of this one.
Yeah. This wasn't for me, but I had a good time.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think that's it for our spoiler-free discussion of this one. Again, you're gonna know if you're into this kind of thing. It's light sci-fi, heavy thinking, theme, ideas kind of movie. A fear of the future and how that future may look based on somebody from the 60s perspective. And again, it almost feels a little eerie in what they got right, but
Yeah.
um,
Trench coats. The trench coats are back. I actually did. I did see a Letterboxd review. I'm going to pull it up right now, and I'm going to credit the person who said it because I thought it was funny.
Yep.
So this is by.
Are you finally using Letterboxd?
I'm starting to get into it a little.
Nice.
I never really saw the appeal. I'm starting to see the appeal now. Okay, so we're recording this on the 28th. On July 27th, so yesterday,
Yep.
as per time of recording, someone named Owl Lily wrote, I need to start wearing a trench coat and pretending I'm in the future while seeing absolutely normal technology. I'm like, you said it, Owl Lily.
That's great. All right. Well, that's it for the spoiler-free episode. We'll see you next week for the deep dive.
Bye-bye.